part of the 3D printing series and in consideration of the current COVID-19 crisis, this being the 3rd of April 2020, everybody seems to be doing a number of mask videos, so that's our plan here. There's basically two options when it comes to the masks. You got the plastic ones and the cloth ones. These are very nice ones made by a friend of ours, originally for Burning Man, but now for this particular crisis. They're pretty helpful. And in fact, it was just recently spoken of today by the officials that wearing a cloth mask, if you so choose, might be helpful. So what they really mean is wear a mask that doesn't take resources away from the professionals. That's the main key, whether it's cloth or plastic. The real key here is to not take away from the medical professionals that do factory-made masks. So we went ahead and got this very popular pattern 3D print for COVID masks, and we got a number printed here. I think we got the 15th coming out of the printer in a couple of hours. We're going to be shipping these off to various friends and family. We've already sent out 3 of them so far, and we're going to basically put together the kit. Part of this is an instructional video for those that get these mask kits that we're putting together. So the 3D printed version basically comes in 3 pieces. There's the mask itself that's designed to fit reasonably snugly around the face. This little insert, and this is the insert for the inside filter bracket, I guess it is. They didn't bother to give them names in the 3D print. So let's just make sure all the little bits are cleaned up, and then that will fit in there nicely, we hope. It's a very snug fit. It's not meant to come back out. So it's a one-time process with this part. But there you go. There it is. There, it's all in place now. So that goes in place, and don't really need to take that out. And this gap here is for a filter element. Now, as you can imagine, a mask is only as good as its air seal and its filter element, right? So we're going to improve both of those. Actually, I guess part of the point of this design is it's modular. Whatever filter element you can get a hold of, we've got 2 that we were going to work with and send out. This is a MERV 13, and I'll provide a link in the description for the definition of the MERV levels and what good they are, and what they are good for, I should say. But this is a MERV 13. It's the best filter element we could find in the local store for a furnace filter. So people are taking a small bit of this and putting that inside the filter element. There's also this other kind of filter element that has odor control, and it's washable ostensibly, but ideally you would only use it once. So we're going to add, and it's also designed to be cut. So one of my concerns about using a paper filter element like the one from the furnace is if you don't get a good sharp cut, you can end up with some frazzled edges, and I don't imagine that's good to breathe in. So you want a nice clean cut on this paper, nice sharp scissors. This other filter element is designed to be cut, so it's probably less likely to have that kind of problem. I haven't tried this one yet. I don't know if it smells strange or what. This other paper ones smell like every other dust mask you've ever worn. So we've got a good number of these to put together, and we'll start processing those in a minute. Now this is the front cover. Front cover is designed to pop on, pop off. As you can see, pretty nifty design. Wish I could take credit for it, but I'll provide the link, obviously. So we got some little bits of support material that are still stuck to it. They claim this print will print without support material, and it probably will, structurally speaking, but the surface, especially around these overhanging areas, since it prints like that, the surface finish is a little off without support and a little bit of post-processing. So I generally just nip off any little bits of excess support material. There it goes. And it depends on the brand of filament as to how, and your printer. And printer settings, of course, everything depends on all that, but as to how good or how useful the support material is. If it gets all kind of gummed up like this, it may not be worth the bother. You notice this printed okay without the support material on this side. Not sure what they do for the calculations on that, but in any case, we're going to process all these big bits off of these masks and do this insert. Put that on for now, and then kit them up in a Ziploc with some elastic. I've also tried these rubber bands, which works in a pinch, I guess, but also kind of pinches. So this is the full version of the mask. This is actually one of the first ones we did. And you can see we just have a little bit of that fabric in there as the filter, and that to kind of hold it in place. I didn't want the air getting around the filter element. It's the other reason why I think that foam filter would be a little better. So obviously this is just for testing, but this fit reasonably well, and so self-adhesive, but not permanently self-adhesive. So this tape meant to go on someplace that doesn't get a lot of motion. Most people are hot gluing this onto the masks rather than just relying on the self-adhesiveness. So some elastic, some of the weather stripping, and some of the filter in each kit into a Ziploc, and off to all our friends and family, those that we know might need it. And hopefully if you have any spare resources like 3D printer time and filament, or perhaps you have a sewing machine and leftover fabric, from what I'm hearing, your basic t-shirt fabric, which looks pretty see-through to me. Anyway, a couple of layers of this is supposed to be helpful, at least. So in many cases the goal isn't so much to prevent you from catching something coming in as to keep all of that what you are expelling from going out. And so in the catch mask instead of the filter mask world, I think the fabrics work better. This is meant for filtering, not so much catching what you're spewing out, although it does that pretty well as well. Oh, one other note about the way these masks fit. There's a little bits of dits of the plastic that happen because this is the last layer it's printing and it's going back and forth pretty quickly, kind of dragging filament. I think I fixed that on the next prints, and I thought it was going to be very uncomfortable and so on, and I thought about sanding and so forth. But once you put this little foam seal around the edge, you really don't feel any of those bits. But they can be sanded off if you like. We're going to sand out the kits without everything adhered to them, so you can do some mods. One of the other mods that I've done before is to take a large bucket of water, hot water, near boiling water, and just simply pour it over the areas that you want to warm up and soften, and then you can spread it out just slightly. Gentle, of course. Don't want to add too much, don't want to leave it on too long, and certainly don't want to microwave it. These are not dishwasher safe. They are safe for almost every kind of chemical, though. Alcohol, peroxide, Lysol, all of that should not do anything to the plastic. They're printed in PLA. It's actually a pretty tough plastic for being the only weak spot really being its low temperature. So again, dishwasher not safe. Not. Do not leave them on your dashboard for the same reason. They will soften and warp. What we're going to do is just continue and show you a little bit of the time lapse of putting these kits together. Okay, one minor glitch. We don't have nearly enough elastic for the number of masks we have. This design was meant for 1/4 inch, which is available online, but grossly overpriced right now, like $16 for what would normally be $4. So, it may be possible to split these down the middle, but we'll leave that to the discretion of the final assembler. Otherwise, you can certainly try the rubber band route, or hopefully you have some leftover elastic. Let's get back to finishing the kits, cutting up filters. One other quick note. So this is the rubber band version, right? And one of the other thoughts we had, because we could find them, since the elastic is so expensive, is doing it on a shoestring. And this being kind of behind the ears, wrapped over the front, could maybe help secure that in place if you're doing any kind of physical activity. I would not recommend that. I've tried breathing through these things. Unless you're training for a marathon or something, I don't think it's too long-term healthy. But good if you're out for a little bit. So anyway, that's another option, the shoestring option for being able to connect it on your head. Okay, so quick follow-up. Made some changes to my printer settings, faster retraction speed, and that cleaned up all these little bits that were on this last few layers, rather. Made that a lot cleaner. Also, with those settings, I lowered the temperature about 5 degrees. And with those settings changes, we don't need the support, which makes it a little easier, saves some plastic. And then since there seems to be a nationwide shortage of elastic, I've been trying out these shoelace style attachment. Oh, there's also been a number of YouTube videos about using your wife's bra as a mask. I gotta say, your mileage may vary. Oh, and one final note of disclaimer. Nothing in this video should be taken to be medical advice. We are not medical doctors. Please follow the advice and guidance of federal, state, and local public health officials. We wish all of you good health and pray that this will subside quickly with as little suffering as possible. Stay safe.
Take it, button, yeah!